Hello and welcome back to another painting video. Today we're going to be painting our Sentinel Prime. Now you may look at this and be like, he's already painted. We've already painted this guy on this channel. You'd be right, but you know, I'm wanting to get better with airbrush and as a painter and stuff like that. So, you know, I've decided to repaint these guys with the airbrush a little bit, kind of adding on to and expanding on what we've already done in our previous video. So you can see we did that base coat of the metallic and we painted contrast paint over the top of it. And now what that did is it created a lot of streaks and like weird spots, and you know, it's just not an even smooth coat. So I was like, these guys would be a good test to go on because they're big and all that stuff. So here's one that I've already done. And you can see it's a lot cleaner. It's a lot more, I think it's cooler. I think it looks cooler. And you still see like that reds in there and the blues from the hands. So I think it works out. And just, you know, while we're doing this, we'll kind of go over like best practices of airbrush that I've gone through and I've learned through my little time here doing airbrush stuff. So the first thing I do, there's always stuff in it. The first thing I do when I do this is I check my airbrush to make sure that it's working properly. So this is a Wada custom. I don't even know which one it is. So the first thing I do is I see if I can pull this and if the needle is moving. And I can see that it's not. So you can see it in there. It's not moving. And it's just got gunked up. So I gotta take this thing apart, which sucks. Like I hate this part about doing all this stuff. And you can see like I can't even pull this out. So there's something stuck in there. So I take my clippers and I just pull it out. It's probably bad to do that, but you can see like there's paint on this. You can take a remover, airbrush cleaner if you want. You can also take your knife or your scalpel, X-Acto knife, and just kind of run it over it to clean that paint off. Because the paint's not stuck on there like permanently. It's easy to get off, but you just gotta scrape it off. So you can see now that's clean. And then we can look here, you can see it's got gunk in there, but it's not too much. You can also get your thing in there and just kind of knock all that out. It's just dried paint and it sucks. So that's the first step to using the airbrush, is making sure that it works. So let's screw this back on. Now we can check here, we can see, yeah, so now the needle is moving in and out. You can't really see it in the video, but you can see there's a needle in there and it's moving. So that's good. Step one done. Now for step two, this is a new step in the process that I've had to add to this whole thing because of problems in the past. We hook this to our compressor without any paint in it. I use this wireless compressor. It's good. Make sure it's charged. You don't want to run out of batteries during your painting, so it's charged. I've made sure that it's charged. And then we want to turn on, and then we want to see if pushing this down makes air come out. A teeny bit. Seems like it's fighting through it. But yeah, so that's not enough, right? So something is wrong with the airbrush. This is maybe an airbrush video on how to troubleshoot an airbrush. So now what we got to do is we've got to mega clean it, which sucks too. It all sucks. Everything with the airbrush sucks. Now there's probably ways to do it better and blah, 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 but you gotta take this out. Then you can take this part out right here. Once you take that out, you can see that's the hole that has the plunger down that pushes this down that activates the airbrush air going in and out. You can take the back of the pin and just kind of work it a little bit. See if you can knock some stuff free. But for this, we'll need to get some cleaner. I just use airbrush cleaner. I don't know where exactly it's from. I think it's Vallejo, but it says media. I don't know. But excuse me, fighting a cold currently. So let's just squirt some in there. And it's in there. And then we can just kind of push this in there to work it. You can probably put like some type of oil on there too to lubricate it a little bit better. But now we're gonna see if that was enough to do it, to clean it out. So now we gotta put this back in where this is pushing into that hole. Again, the theme of this, it sucks, right? So you gotta pull this back and kind of bombs away it in there. Here we go. And we're in. And then we can put this back through. And we are hanging on something. Tighten this back down. Make sure this is still moving. It is. You don't have to put this back on right now, but I'm gonna anticipate it working. I'm gonna echo it into the world that this is gonna work the first time I did this for the camera. Make sure that we don't have that put in there too much, okay? So now we screw the compressor back on. Let me put it off to the side here and just okay, so we turn it on and we press the button. Nope, still not what we want. Now it could be that there's something in here causing the issue. There's a lot in here. There's a lot going on inside of airbrush. Yeah, see? So, because you can see those little holes in the front, that's where the air comes out. So there's something in here that was messing with that. Let's screw this back on and see if maybe just unscrewing it made that work. Did not. So we gotta clean this because this is fine. So what we'll do is we'll get a little cup here. I like to get these little pill cups. They work good for mixing paint and all that stuff. So I found it really handy. Yeah, I guess gotta find my little cleaning brushes, which hopefully are in here. I got toothpicks, those will help, those will work. But I do have a cleaning set of tools for airbrush that is MIA right now for whatever reason. Because I'm on camera, that's why, because I need it and I'm on camera. So we'll have to just make it do with this. So we'll put some of the airbrush cleaner in here. We will submerge this piece in it. That'll help dissolve the paint and get that all cleaned up. Right now I'm pushing through the hole here with the thing and scraping the ring on around the outside. So yeah, my goal this year is to get better with the airbrush. So this is gonna be part of it. I won't be doing this on every video, obviously, because you guys will get so bored of watching me fight my airbrush every episode. But this is the reality of, at least for me, for airbrushing, is that I have to fight it for a while to get it to run. But once it runs, it runs. So you can see we got a lot of these little chunks off of it and stuff. So that's good. Is this melting the bottom of this? Maybe we should double up on this. It's not a bad chemical. It's environmentally safe and all that. So it's not messing me up or anything like that, but just clean around the threads of this really quick. And we'll pop this guy on. Wipe it off with a towel. There we go. Now you can hear that, that's like way coming out now, right? All right, cool. So now we can paint. It's like getting the airbrush to work was step one. So now, like I said, I like to pre-mix the paint in cups. Because that's just, I found that mixing it in the lid doesn't work as well for me. We're gonna use this blue violet from Vallejo. It looks like this now, if you get the newer ones. Oops, this has stuff on the floor. I should not. You don't want this in the paint. So let's actually, oh shit, it spilled over here. Oh, there goes all that stuff over here. You just spilled a whole bunch of airbrush cleaner on the side of my desk. That's cool. I like that for me. I love that journey. So I'm just gonna double cup because there's stuff on here. So we get that. Shake up our paint. This one's pretty much dead. That's why I have the new bottle on standby. And we don't need a ton here, but we do need a good amount. That's probably fine. And what I found, it's best to maybe start with like a 1-to-1 ratio of paint to thinner. This is a airbrush reducer and extender base. It's just a, it's just a thinner. It's an airbrush thinner for acrylics, because we're using acrylic paints. So let's try to fill this up with about the same amount of thinner than we did paint, which that looks maybe right. And we'll just take a cruddy brush here and give it a stir. Make sure you stir it really good. Get all that so you don't see that white anymore. And then it's got a consistency of, they say milk, but like what is, I don't know. So if you can put it on there and it kind of drips, you're probably okay. So this is probably fine. Might be a little too thick, but we can adjust later with more thinner in the thing. But as long as we got the bulk of it in the mix already, we don't have to worry as much. Okay, and then I put this down just to protect all the paints so I can read the labels later when I do this. So pour that into the top. And we can just do a little test spray here. Make sure it's coming out. It is. And then we're gonna start going to town on, so where the purple goes on these red spots. So always start spraying off to the model, so just in case anything's stuck in there, you can get it out. And just slowly pull back on that trigger, and you'll get the purple to start coming out. We're trying to start in the middle of the panels and work our way towards the outside. And as we get toward the outside, we're not pushing, we don't want as much paint there because we want that red to still kind of show. There's gonna be some spillover. You could mask if you want, but I am not gonna mask. I'm just gonna let it rip here. You can see that it's on there. And since we're airbrushing, it's a thin layer. It's going to dry semi-transparent and let kind of some of this work that we've done in the before show through it. Which was the hope when I started this process of, you know, still maintaining what we did, but also, you know, making it better. So you can see there, it's still metallic-y, but now more purple. You just add a little bit more paint here to there. And then we're gonna go to the next side here. We're just gonna be really careful, slow with the airbrush. We're not gonna just blast it and pull the handle back as far as we can, because that's gonna cause problems if we do that. That's just gonna go like this, and then if we pull the handle back all the way, it goes rah, and it just sprays a ton of paint. We want just a little bit of paint at a time to come out here, and we want as smooth a layer as we can get. And you can see it's a little speckly in some parts, but that just means we need to either thin the paint more or just let a little bit more air pressure through. And it's trial and error which one it is. So this time around, it looks like it's just pull the handle back a little bit more. So that's what I'm doing. And you can do more than one coat of this. So, you know, it's best just to kind of keep it thin at first, and then we'll move. Like now that it's kind of dry here now, we can kind of come back in here and get this little spot right here that's a little too bright. And then a little bit down here also, which is, there you go. We didn't get. So that's good for the bottom. Now we're gonna move, let's go over here a little bit. Just get like a little bit more. Okay, and then we're gonna go to the biceps now. Remember, try to avoid those recesses. Think of this as kind of like, you do this in Gundam painting, but you would do it with, I don't know, some people do it differently. I like to go paint the whole model black and then paint the panels. And some people like to paint the panels. So this is kind of the reverse method where we're painting the panels first. And we're not painting the black shadows. I hope that makes sense. If you paint model airplanes, you might get it. You might understand it a little bit more. Okay. See, we got like a little too much there, but we just gotta let it dry and we can fix it. Remember, we're starting our airflow off the model to avoid any like crazy spray happening. You just need to get that piece right there. This part's a little finagly to get. So there's the arms, and now we gotta do the face. We're just gonna get And after this step, obviously there's going to be some coming in and refining as well. So it's not just blast what we have with an airbrush and you're done. You're going to have to fix some mistakes. You want to have to add a little bit more shadows into some of the areas. You want to get that jaw. There we go. And that's the purple mostly done. We can go back through, like, see this part right here. We didn't quite get it enough. Or we did, like, depends on how you want it. But I think that's gonna be good for our purple. So now we need to dump this out. And I gotta go clean this out. I gotta go dump this in the sink. What I do is I take this into the sink and dump a bunch of water through it to get it out. And then I spray a little bit of airbrush cleaner in there and clean it out. So I'll be right back. You'll see how long this takes. Okay, that's it for the cleaning. And you see, we got all the paint out of here and we got all the paint off here. When I do this, I just kind of put my finger on this and kind of push the pressure down and let the air blow it to help clean it. Now the blue took me a while to figure out because I was like ultramarine blue, light blues. It was kind of a pain to figure out. But we ultimately landed on this Prussian blue. It's a nice dark blue. It's like a gray blue, but still like blue, as you can see right there. If that made any sense what I said. And again, we do 1:1 ratio here. We're as close to it as we think we are. Then we get our cruddy brush again. Stir it, and you see how it's white and then it goes back to dark, this dark blue. That's what we want. You don't want to leave that white there. You want to make sure it gets cleaned and is separated. I mean, it's not separated anymore. It's all added together. Also do all this with a like a big rag in my lap because sometimes you drip and spill. And you just want to be careful of that. All right, so we'll dump this into the top here. Put that in there, and then we'll test spray to make sure blue is coming out because purple might. Nope, it's blue. Good, good. See, after that, all that boring cleaning, things are going pretty smoothly for now. Let's hope I didn't just jinx that, but we're gonna start from the bottom up. So we're gonna go on the feet. And we're gonna do the same where we're starting in the middle of the panels and working our way to the outside of the panels. Or toward an edge of the panel. It doesn't have to always be like middle to whatever. So let's just, so you can see it's kind of runny here. It's got a lot of runs in it, the paint. That probably means it's too thin, especially since like the air is blowing it away, but I think we can push through and work with it. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. But if you're at home and you're trying to do something for like a competition or whatever, well, first of all, don't watch me if you're trying to paint for competition, because I'm just a dude that's painting for fun. But yeah, just try to get it as smooth as you can, and then you can come back with the paint on a brush later to fix it. See how that was kind of like glassed over that and was like super watery? It's not super great, but blues are also hard to work with too. Like the pigment is a little thinner. So, you know, mixing that kind of stuff, yellows too, reds, all that kind of stuff, it's gonna be different. So even like saying 50%, I mean like a 1-to-1 ratio might not be the case for blue. Like for blue, it might be a little less. So that's the foot done. So you can see the differences between the two feet or legs right now. And you can see we kind of painted over the metal there, so we're gonna have to go back through and repaint that metal, which is fine. It's totally fine. I'm just gonna continue. We're probably just gonna go a little lighter over this one to see if that helps our coverage a little bit here, which preliminary does look like it's helping. So I'm just kind of pulling a little bit less back on the trigger of the airbrush and letting just a teeny bit of paint come out since it is so thin. Let me just every once in a while check and make sure that paint is coming out. You can kind of see it when your surface starts to get a little wet. You can tell that paint is flowing, but sometimes it's not as easy. Just check my paint level really quick to make sure that you had enough paint to go through this still, because it sucks to get into like a groove of painting and then have to mix more paint. Oops, and we were touching the model, which we don't want to do. Usually you would probably wear like a glove for this. I'm not being so dainty with it this time, but a glove would be helpful. Okay, now we got these little crotch pieces. We gotta get this whole chest piece here. Kind of doing the same thing, just don't paint it like you're base coating it. Try to go into the panels and get those individually. just treat it like each panel is a new model to paint. Because if you go into it and just spray it, you're gonna lose a lot of that depth of color that we've already established, which we don't want to do. Because that just makes more work for us in the next step. So see, you can still see kind of that metallic tint on here. Or at least I can. Maybe it's not showing up so much in there. But it's better if you just attack the panels one at a time rather than just base coating it. Because we're not base coating, we are basically painting panels. Turn this around. We'll start working on the back. So we're gonna avoid those recesses of these like chunks here and just kind of leave the metallic in those areas. Maybe it's been worn. From killing all the mutants. And from that you can kind of do like a zenithal spray, so like holding the model at this angle and then like spraying at it from like a downward angle, like to keep it from getting underneath areas. If you're familiar with zenithal priming, it's the same kind of thing that you could do with this to avoid stuff in one direction. And if you find yourself going fast like I did right there, just take a breath, go away from the paint. You're gonna mess it up. Especially like, you know, I was starting the paint on the model, which we don't want to do, because that's could cause like a vomit of paint to come out. And when that happens, you know, it might be a different consistency, thickness, color. It's just you don't want the vomit. You don't want the vomit of color to come out of your airbrush. And going between the panels there, it might look like I'm just going through, but I'm pushing the the needle forward so there's no paint coming out. I'll see we got some splash there. So we'll have to go through and fix that with a brush. But you can see like this thing's already looking way cooler, right? Like I know we're like a while in the video. It took us a while to set up, but I think the payoff is more than worth it. And I hope you guys think so too. Yeah, because I know airbrushes are scary, especially like the maintenance of it, it does suck. But you know, once you get into a groove, if you're using it a lot constantly, you don't have, the maintenance is less. It's just when you have like big gaps of time between using it that I find that I have problems. It's like a 3D printer. If you have one of those, like if you're using it, there's no, you're not having problems with it. But when you stop using it and you try to go print something later, then you start having problems. And it's a big old annoying situation. Just getting these hands. I do like these little portable compressors a lot. This has made airbrushing a lot more pleasant for me. Your mileage may vary, but they're on Amazon. They usually come with a airbrush. You could try that out. I mean, as long as you're cleaning it and stuff, it should be okay. I mean, it's a low barrier of entry at that point. But yeah, definitely the portable ones make it a lot more easier for me, because the air seems to be pretty consistent that comes out of it, just as long as it's charged. And then cleaning it is a lot easier because you can take it with you to the sink and spray the stuff out that you need to. All right, so that's almost all the blue. We just missed a little area there, little area there. So that's all the blue on this guy. And you can see like the big difference from where we started, right? He looks a lot more comic book like, a little bit more professional, I guess you could say. There's some overspray in little areas, but you know, you can chalk that up to battle damage or whatever. And then, so let's go into, I'm gonna leave the paint into this against my better judgment. Leave the paint in this for now while we go on to the next step, just so that we, for the sake of the video, get things rolling here. So now, this is where we get out our regular brush and we take over from here, because most of the panels are done. We're good. We don't have to worry too much. So we'll take some of that blue violet that we had before, put it on our palette, just to any touch-ups that we need to do. And the same thing with that Prussian blue. We're also gonna put, we can take this away now, we don't need this anymore. We'll take the Prussian blue, put some of that down. And we'll get our little 00 brush, if we can find it. Get the tip there. Thin out our paint pretty thin, because the airbrush paint itself is also really thin. And we're just gonna go through here and just kind of clean up those areas that we got some overspray on that is maybe just a little too apparent. Any of these like splatters as well, you also want to grab at the same time. So just, you know, just take a look through the model. Make sure that you're checking those spaces. These are the spots that we identified earlier. Here we go. And then for the face, we want to lighten it up a little bit. We're gonna take this German Camo Beige. It's also, like before we used like a bone color contrast paint over the metallic. I don't think it looks as good. So we're just gonna take this and not super dump it on, but we're gonna kind of just put it over the face in some of the areas just to help sell our new more matte color scheme. We're just avoiding those edges, kind of how we did with the airbrush. I'm just gonna, cool. Now we will take our shining silver paint. Actually, probably take plate metal, plate mail metal, or gunmetal if you have it is fine too. And we're gonna go over the metallic-y bits that we had sprayed over. So this guy for sure. I'm gonna go in there. Make sure that these things have kind of mostly stayed intact. You can see that some of the blue got in here. And this is part of the cleanup. If you want to do this, you can. If you don't, you don't got to. You don't got to do anything you don't want to. Especially like the trick is to hold the model away from you with your hand like as far as you can and look at it. If you can't see it, then you're not going to be able to see it on the tabletop either. This is a tabletop game after all. It's not a display miniature. Unless you want to display it, which is also fine. I do both. I display them, and I paint them, and I play with them. So, just got some purple in here. Just clean that up a little bit. The blue in there works kind of as a glow. I don't mind it there as much. We've got some bits in here. And the face took it a little bit because of how small this area is that we want to get that. This side got it pretty good with the purple. And the back here is good. So we were a lot more accurate this time around than I was with the first time with my first guy. Okay, and then what I like to do is I like to take some blue wash shade from Games Workshop, and I like to put it in some of these panels that lost some of its detail or the shadows because of the contrast that was on it. So you can just kind of put it on here and just kind of rub your finger over it to clean it out of those ditches. Make sure it stays in the ditches. So we can also just kind of these little insets where like there's these vents or whatever. I like to put it in there too, just to make sure it stays dark, and then also bring it under here. Wipe off our brush. Can bring it down a little bit there, especially since this is a recessed bit. Should be a lot darker in there, so we can kind of hit that. And just kind of poke at these little details here and there, the panel lines. Just to add some darkness to it, some recess. Same thing for that bit there. I try my best to paint it on, but my hands aren't as steady to do some of this, so just doing my best. Okay. Look at some of this top stuff here, like this guy here, these little indents there, this little guy there, got the same little guy there. Get that stuff. You can get these little vents in the back. We're just kind of adding some of that detail back with this. Anyway, that's my excuse. It's what I say it's doing. So just a little bit there. And we'll do the same thing. No, we don't have to. So we can do the same thing with a purple wash on the purple, but I think the purple is pretty good. Next, we're gonna take some white and mix it with that Prussian blue that we had, and just do a little bit of kind of edge highlighting, like not crazily, but just a little teeny bit. Just kind of, oops. Ooh, I almost hit the whole model there. Just on some of the bits here. Here and there, just to get some dings and bings and bops on the model. It's a Sentinel, it's not, you know, pristine. Machine, you know. Maybe yours is fresh off the assembly line. So either way, do what you want. Just kind of doing it on the tops of the surfaces. Just to kind of add some more light to the model. Oops, sorry, I don't know if you can see that. Just kind of going on the edges here and there. You can also get we're not going too crazy with it, so just get like maybe the tips of the knuckles here. So for these, like just the tips of the fingers. Get that little edge here and there. There, some more, a little bit of edge there. And it's just very subtle, very minimal, not back-breaking. Hey, cool. And that is how we paint or repaint or increase the paint on our Sentinel Prime. As always, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.